Hey Internet, I'm simonsquibb, your host at the Good Luck Club podcast. Our mission is to help anybody out there that's thinking of starting a business do just that. Equally, if you've started a business and are struggling, maybe you need a little bit of inspiration and knowledge. And we hope by interviewing some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs and change makers that you'll get the knowledge you need to become the person you want and turn your business into that dream company. I personally have started 17 companies from scratch and have invested in over 65 startups. When I sat down and analysed how I did it, I discovered a secret. It was all luck. I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, without luck, it ain't gonna work. Each week, I will discuss with my guests this theory and see if luck is a skill as I feel it is. I hope you enjoy our episode this week. Welcome to this week's episode of the Good Luck Club podcast. My guest today is serial entrepreneur Kingsley Abrokwah, chief enabler and founder of KudiGo. Kingsley, welcome.
Thanks so much, Simon. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'd like to start off, if it's possible for you to perhaps tell my audience a little bit about you.
Sure. So my name is Kingsley Abrokwah. I'm an African tech entrepreneur from Ghana. I've been running my own tech startups for the past 10 years. And I come from a tech background. And my favorite hobby is football, although I can't play any. So that's a little bit about me. And
your business today, what does it do?
I run a tech startup called KudiGo, and it's what we try to do is we build in solutions for consumer retail in Africa. And the goal is to be able to help every single African who is into retail to leverage on tech to grow their business. Africa's economy is made up of 90% consumer retail businesses. And to date, a lot of the things they do is manual. And they're not able to grow their business. So what we aim to do is to help them leverage on tech to grow their business. And we hope that that will change the entire economy and improve their lives as well.
So tell us perhaps what success means to you as an entrepreneur for the last 10 years. How do you gauge success?
So I see success as being able to create something that goes far beyond yourself. And that simply means that whatever you have done should be able to outlive you. It could either be wealth creation or job creation, but the epitome of success is something that far exceeds what you, the entrepreneur or the person, set out to do. And being able to sit back, look at what you've been able to build and see how it's helping people's life. For me, that's how I see success. It goes beyond your person, but rather societal benefits.
Do you ever look at money as a measure of success, or is this an evolution of who you are now? Or have you ever looked at money as a success in the past?
For me, money is an add-on to success. I rather see wealth creation as success. So wealth creation in the sense that not just the capital that you have, but again, everyone around you being able to live comfortably because of what you do. So money for me is an add-on, is an added value, and it comes with success.
Do you come from an entrepreneurial family? How did you end up as an entrepreneur?
So I think I stumbled upon entrepreneurship because I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I had a plan to be a pilot, get married, have kids, and do all of that. But then 10 years ago, I stumbled upon a great idea that I believed I could make it work. So right then I called entrepreneurship back. And since that, I looked back. So I personally never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. It's just something that happened. And here I am 10 years later.
So tell us a little bit about your education. What when you say a pilot, were you going through a system to become a pilot, or was it just a dream? Or how did your early years form?
Growing up in Ghana, the education system we have, you have like public and private schools. I went to a typical public school system. And in my junior high school years, I studied geography and physics and economics because I wanted to be a pilot. But then after my junior high school education, I had to get a job to be able to go to university. And the job I got was in an IT call center. And that's where my love for technology started. So I then had to pivot from wanting to be a pilot to now do IT. And after doing IT for 4 years, I figured that that was the best thing I could do because I was really good at it. So really, I mean, education-wise, I started to study to be a pilot. But then after junior high school, I fell in love with IT, and then I just had to pivot and do that.
What about your parents? Were they supportive of you being an entrepreneur, or did they want you to get a more traditional role? And were they entrepreneurs?
So mine is a funny story because I was born out of a wedlock. So I never had both parents. I mean, my dad was never there for me. But the number one person in my life who is the reason why I'm here is my grandma. So my grandma literally, I mean, took care of me through childhood. And really, for like 5 years of my entrepreneurship journey, I couldn't tell her I was an entrepreneur because then she'll be scared I wouldn't make it. So it was just recently that she got to know that I was an entrepreneur. And she was like, how do you eat? What do you do? You know, but for her, I understood her because, I mean, she was concerned for me and she has never, I mean, had to do what I've done for myself. So for me, it's all been my grandma, and she's the one I credit everything I've done to, I mean, so far.
Is that why is the perception of an entrepreneur that, you know, you can't potentially eat? Is that the image of an entrepreneur?
So, you know, so again, depending on where you start your business, like getting capital is hard, getting customers is hard. You know, so for an entrepreneur who has no seed funding, trying to do things yourself, you're going to struggle a lot. And if you don't come from an aristocratic background with all these family connections, then you really can't do much. So it's sort of a standard that as an entrepreneur in our part of the world, you will have to struggle unless you have a solid backing. I didn't have that. So my grandma knew I was done with school. So the only thing she knew was get a job, get a salary, and be good. But then now you come and say, you know what, I'm not going to get a job. I'm going to start a company. With what money? With what resources? So to back you up. So obviously you will go hungry. And I was hungry for a long time. You know, so it's actually expected for that to happen with you.
When she found out, she eventually got used to it?
At that point, I mean, I was no longer hungry. I had money. So even though she was like, are you sure you want to do this? I was like, well, I've done it for 5-6 years now. We're doing good. So what do you say? So like my grandma is a cheerleader. So she just like, you know what? I'll support you regardless. Whatever you need. Even till date, sometimes she'll come and say, do you need money? I'm like, yo, I'm taking care of you. You're with me. You know? So yeah, I mean, but now she's okay with it and she loves what I do.
It's I have no idea about the ecosystem in Ghana. What's it like?
So the Ghanaian ecosystem is a very active ecosystem, and you find a lot of solutions that are Africa-centric and built to accustom to our way of life. So you will not find a typical Dropbox kind of startup, or you will not find probably, let's say, an Amazon kind of startup, but you find startups that are solving local problems. Agriculture, startups on a name payments, because that is where the real problems are. But then it's a lot of young people who are doing very innovative stuff over here in Ghana, and not just Ghana, across the sub-region. And I mean, it's grown over time. Over the past 5 years, it's grown from a few people to now an entire ecosystem, and lots of it is software-driven, which is very innovative because we had the best programmers here in Accra and in Lagos as well, and they are doing great stuff.
In your opinion, do you think entrepreneurs are born or bred?
I think they are bred. Because, I mean, I think your environment that you live in or you grow up in shapes you to be an entrepreneur. And the reason I say that is there are instances of people who grew up with money, were given seed money to start businesses, but they couldn't do it. Because entrepreneurship goes beyond the capital you raise. It's about creating a business that is profitable. And at that point, challenges will come. And when the challenges come, that is when your real identity will come out, whether you are cut out for this or not. So I strongly believe entrepreneurs are bred by the environment they grow up in. And that determines who stands out and who doesn't stand out as an entrepreneur.
Now, I know you've raised money for your business. How did you go about doing that?
So for my current business, I raised money. For my first two startups, I bootstrapped them from scratch, grew it to over 100K annual revenue. But for this particular business, we've raised about $1 million so far in both seed and pre-series A funding. And what we did was we first built the products, got customer traction, and brought on angel investors and institutional investors who we believed understood what we were doing. Because yes, we are a profit company, but one of the key things we focus on is the impact our solution has on our environment, on our community. So we've turned down investors who we felt were not aligned with us. But then for us, the money was good. But then can you help us grow this business across Africa? I mean, in the past 3 years, we are in 5 countries in Africa. And that is thanks to the investors that we brought on who understood what we're trying to do. So yes, the money was the key thing, but then the other component was whether you understand the vision and can help us scale up that vision across the continent.
What do you think retail-wise there's a difference between, say, Hong Kong, maybe London and Ghana? Is there a big difference that our audience might find interesting?
Yeah, it's a huge difference. First of all, Africa's retail market is focused on retail commerce. And by retail commerce, I mean you have lots of brick and mortar stores. E-commerce in Africa is different from how you do e-commerce in Hong Kong or even in London. Because if you are in Africa, if you're in Ghana, Nigeria, logistics is an issue, payment is an issue, even people being tech savvy enough to buy is an issue. As of today, 90% of consumer retail done in Africa is done in brick and mortar stores, as against what you find in Hong Kong. So it's a very different landscape. But then the good thing is mobile phone penetration is high in Africa. We have stuff like mobile money, which I don't think you have in Hong Kong. So there is a different way that Africa is adapting to retail in terms of how it's approaching e-commerce, and it's unique to our setting, trying to adapt to peculiar problems within our setting, from data connectivity to how people do payments, and whether it's a card payment, it works here, or it's NFC. There are varying differences between, what happens locally in Africa and what happens in Hong Kong or even in London.
So for the folks listening in Hong Kong, what is mobile money exactly? I mean, I think it might be what it says on the tin, but how does that work?
Yeah. So mobile money is a technology that was developed in Africa by the telcos, started in Kenya. And what it simply did was almost every average African can afford either a feature phone or a smartphone, and basic smartphone. So your bank account now becomes your phone number. So by having a mobile phone number, you instantly have a bank account. And so if you, Simon, you want to send me money, you send the money to my phone number right from your phone. And I can receive the money and go withdraw from any agent on the street. So there is no human intervention. There is no card needed. Your identity is your phone number. And over time, it's scaled up across the entire Africa, moving almost billions of dollars just through mobile phones. And that's what we call mobile money here in Africa.
Yeah, I kind of think that model should be in Hong Kong or in London, right? That mobile money model.
I agree with you, because again, in this era of social distancing and all that, having a card is a risk, right? So if you can just use your phone number to be able to send money across board, that makes it easy. And also for people who are not part of our generation or are very tech savvy, it makes it easier for them to just dial a short code to move funds rather than log into a portal, Interpass, and all those things. So really, it's the convenience part of it and ensuring that every single person becomes financially inclusive. So no one gets left behind. And that's the premise behind mobile money. And that's what has helped Africa to have a very huge bank and population as against other parts of the world.
Well, maybe that's the startup after this one for you. It must be a regulatory issue. That must be why that doesn't happen.
Well, maybe. Again, probably, financial regulations and all that, people try to be careful around these things. But, it's done well. It's done well in Africa, really.
And what about the regulations in markets like Ghana? Is it done by jurisdiction, or is it very relaxed or not?
So it used to be very stringent, but now the regulatory bodies have adapted technology. So Ghana, for instance, has rolled out its own e-payments regulation by the central bank. You have same in Nigeria, same in Kenya, and now you have cross-border money movements using mobile money. So somebody can sit in Kenya and send money to me in Ghana just using their phone, because now there's a streamlined regulatory regime. So again, it's been a learning curve, innovators as well as the regulatory regimes. And I think in the next few years, we will have like a seamless cross-border transaction flow across the entire continent.
In your business life, how do you think luck's played a role? And do you think you've had bad luck at all along the way?
Well, I had a bit of presumably bad luck when I started my first business, and that was 10 years ago. At that point, my mom was trying to do good by me again. So she was like, you know what? If you're gonna start a business, I'm gonna support you. So I quit my job, tried to start my first business, and then 6 months later, I lose my mom. And I'm like, oops, this is it again. And as that happened, my dad came back and was like, you know what? I want to come back to your life and help you. And then 4 months later, I lost my dad as well. So within a 12-month period, I lost both parents, which is bad luck in any shape and form. But today, I sit back and I look at what happened then, and I see that it helped me become a better person. It helped me become more resolute, and it helped me achieve a lot, knowing that, you know what? No matter what setback happens in life, once you are determined, once you are focused, once you have people around you who will, look out for your best interest, you will make it. So bad luck is bad luck when it happens, but then you can turn it to good if you really believe in what you're doing. And just focus and keep doing it. It might not happen in a year or two, but consistency is what will get you there. So I see that, yes, there's bad luck in my life that has happened, but you can turn that bad luck to good luck. And eventually it all pays off.
I can resonate with your story, having also lost a parent when I was young. And
Wow.
It's, I totally agree with you as well. It's a very difficult thing to comprehend that in any way something as awful as losing a parent can somehow make you stronger, better. But I guess, it can. But your grandmother was there to support you as well, right?
Yeah, she's still going strong. She's like my favorite person in the whole world. Yeah. You all need a grandma in our life.
Totally, yeah. I've just got a Connor. But, he's my editor. He's in the background nodding away. Yeah. But so what do you think about the innovation scene long term in Ghana? Do you see it out innovating markets like Silicon Valley or London, or do you see it going its own way? What's your view?
I think the next biggest unicorns are going to come out of Africa. And I'm not going to say we are one of them, but we are one of them. Because really the thing is that, Africa has a lot of problems, but at the same time, lots of opportunity. So there's a huge market for any tech business or any business whatsoever who is solving a fundamental problem. In Europe and in the Western world, economies are already developed. You don't have potholes everywhere. You don't have, very rudimental problems. So everything has sort of gone ahead of its time. But you come back to Africa and there are real problems tied to real natural resources that you can innovate around, and it will scale for the next 100 years. So innovation in Africa is on the ascendancy. You have startups coming up every now and then. The biggest problem, though, is access to financing, because I've learned the hard way that being an African and raising funds is it's a lot of problems, even when you get to even travel the world, because there's a perceived risk of it's an African startup, and so you can't invest in that business. So you find lots of African startups, myself included, incorporating either in London or in the US just to attract funding. So I think it's a gradual process. We will get there, but I see the best innovations that has real impact coming out of Africa. There is no two ways about that.
Well, I can concur. I opened up an office in Nairobi for my business, and I remember when we opened up there, people explaining to me the whole concept that in a way the government has let people down and not build infrastructure, but that's a real benefit in a way for the next generation, because you can leapfrog over the institutional structures and go straight, for example, to money on mobile as opposed to like having a bank and therefore a legacy system. So I agree with you. The next big wave of unicorns will come from Africa. I completely concur. I guess that's what's good about tapping into markets like Hong Kong, where there are finance. You can if people are wise enough and understand the market, then they can invest in people like you and help be a part of that unicorn wave that's coming.
Exactly. Podcasts like these helps people to understand the African story and understand like there are real businesses in Africa making real impact. And these are not localized in one country. They've scaled across the region. So that also helps these investors understand, okay, it's not just a one country solution, it's an entire regional solution. And you can invest wisely, invest in the proper structure and be able to scale it up. So if you have investors from Hong Kong coming through, even founders fighting in the UK, investing in Africa, that should tell you that there is potential. And you have people who really understand the landscape coming into the business. So I think that's also a good thing to help open up the market to investors.
Do you see the investment network growing in that part of the world, or you see it's not developing quick enough?
It's growing, but it's growing in a way that I think it's not the best way, in the sense that you have a lot of people setting up all these little funds, right? They get probably $100 million and set up a growth fund. And what they try to do is they try to replicate a typical Silicon Valley model in Africa. They'll say, you know what, I'm going to give you 20K, 30K, spread it around probably 20 startups and see who comes out. The problem with that model is that by giving that startup that 20K or 50K, a bulk of that money is going to do real hard work on the ground. You have the entrepreneur who is the visionary, but then the entire team just want a salary. So over time, it's not like in Silicon Valley where everyone knows that, okay, if I start this business, I can IPO or I can do this and do that. Over here, it's all about, hand to mouth. So I think that the trend should really be about investing in businesses which actually are businesses, not just a one product company. So a startup that can actually churn out 3, 4, 5 products. And giving that startup whatever leverage it needs, not just money, but access to a wide range of network of advisors, people who ensure that it's set up properly, rather than putting pockets of money in various people's hands. Because that's happened a lot of times, and I've seen a lot of startups go down because they run out of funds and can't raise any more money, or they just, couldn't figure it out because they are one product company. Over here in Africa, one product companies might not thrive, in my opinion. You want a company that scales beyond a single product.
It's interesting, isn't it? You're talking about the nuance of the market. People do seem to copy the Silicon Valley model and try to replicate it. But your point is there quite a good one, I think, about people don't see it going to IPO, so they end up needing a salary to survive, right? So it's definitely a problem. You're advising anyone out there that's listening that's in the investment space and wants to understand the Ghana market, then they need to reach out to you, I think. You can help them. You can help them have a successful investment business there. But is the government doing much to support? Is there a matching scheme or anything along those sorts of lines?
Well, the government is doing its best, I would say. The good thing is a lot of sort of regulations have been relaxed to attract investment into Africa. So Ghana has relaxed investment rules, same for Nigeria, and there's been more of like stability in terms of the economy and the governance structure. So Ghana has had a stable democracy for over 50 years now. So you're sure that if you invest in Ghana, you will not wake up one day and there's a coup and then your money is gone. No, it will be there. You have very high level people like the IFC, the World Bank investing in startups in Ghana, in Nigeria. So really the government on its own has done what it can regulatory wise. It's now time for donor partners and even investors to now come and at least test the system to see whether it's that rigid. And that will help them also adapt. But the willingness is there. They are ready to change. They are ready to do what they can because they see it happening and they know that the next phase of growth is from tech entrepreneurs or from startups, and they are willing to attract better investors to the country.
Fascinating. Well, I always try to keep the podcast to about 30 minutes if we can, but I could keep talking to you. It's very interesting understanding what you're doing in the market there. But if you went back to your younger self and gave some advice, what would it be?
I would tell my younger self that get a lot of money before you become an entrepreneur, because it's a hard road, man. But I think I would tell my younger self to probably just keep going and not be a doubter, because I was a doubter for a long time. I doubted myself, and that I felt was a disservice to me. And so probably my only advice is that I should probably be more confident about what I was doing and be willing and ready to learn. Entrepreneurs are very egoistic, which is understandable. But then if we tend to be humble enough and learn from people who've done it like yourself, and listen to advice really well in the early stages, we might skip a lot of the big mistakes we've made in our lives. So just listen more and believe in yourself. That's what I'll tell my young self.
Kingsley, good advice. I've got a very good feeling about you. I think you're going to do very, very well. It sounds like you've already done well.
You.
And I'll be watching you keenly, and so will my listeners. We'll put the links to your business in the bottom of the broadcast, so people, if they want to find out a little bit more about you and what you're doing, they'll be able to do that. But I want to thank you for taking the time out to give us a little insight to your business, your life, and to where you live. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Simon. I appreciate it, and talk to you again soon.
Thank you for listening to the Good Luck Club podcast. We know you have thousands of podcasts you could be listening to, and you've chosen us. We, of course, feel lucky. If you want to hear more, please go to thegoodluckpod.com or go to any of our social media pages and share with us your views, your insights, and any way that we can improve what we're doing to make it a better experience for you. We wish you the best of luck.